one day somebody does something unspeakable to someone else, to someone you hardly knew, and you do something about it because you can.
This story comes to us from corrections1.com. A former Riverside County Sheriff's captain and jail commander is suing the county and Sheriff Chad Bianco, alleging she was fired for speaking out against inmate abuse and deaths and other unconstitutional practices. Victoria Flores, a Sheriff's Department veteran of 28 years who had no history of discipline until her April 2024 termination, filed the lawsuit July 7th in U.S. District Court in Riverside. It alleges whistleblower retaliation, wrongful termination, and gender discrimination, among other allegations. Also named as defendants are Under Sheriff Don Sharp and Assistant Sheriff Herman Lopez, who oversees management and operations of the county jail system. While the Sheriff's Department told Flores she was fired for the falsification of training records and a dispute with another deputy at the department's firing range, Flores claims the real reason she was fired was because of Bianco's fear that she would help publicly expose corruption and the cover-up of inmate abuses at the Robert Presley Detention Center in Riverside, which she commanded for more than 2 years, and at other jails where inmates died or were seriously injured. A motivating factor in plaintiff's termination was plaintiff's opposition to defendants' illegal actions and egregious conduct, and fear that she would expose them, according to the lawsuit. It goes on. Plaintiff was terminated in part because defendant Bianco knew plaintiff recognized and would expose the egregious wrongs occurring in the jails. Now, the lawsuit hit during an ongoing Department of Justice investigation that began in February 2023. After a spate of 18 inmate deaths in county jails in 2022, the highest number of 15 years, that sounded an alarm among local activists and the families of those who died and spurred a spate of federal lawsuits. Flores' lawsuit was filed about 3 weeks after her husband, former Riverside County Sheriff's Lieutenant Samuel Flores, was sentenced to 9 months in jail for receiving bribes to steer business to a former Temecula tow company. Samuel Flores was one of 3 Sheriff's Department employees who were indicted in March of 2020 by a grand jury and convicted in July 2024. As a corrections lieutenant at the Robert Presley Detention Center, the county's main jail, Flores had already begun witnessing problems before she was promoted to captain and jail commander in July of 2021. That's according to the lawsuit. Now, May of 2021, she learned of an inmate who suffered a head injury and loss of memory after an encounter in which corrections deputies used excessive force. When she reported the incident to the department's Professional Standards Bureau, with a video of the incident as proof, the involved deputies were not disciplined according to the lawsuit. Similar incidents continue to occur at the jail, including a severe incident in May 2023 involving a deputy with a history of discipline, but received no discipline in the 2023 incident, according to the lawsuit. When the Riverside County Grand Jury began evaluating conditions at the county jails in 21, Flores cooperated in the investigation and was transparent about all practices concerning administration of the jails. When the grand jury requested a follow-up interview of Flores in March of 2022, the suit alleges Bianco intervened and told her to say if she was sick and could not appear. Sounds about right. Unwilling to lie but concerned about repercussions from disobeying Bianco, plaintiff said she would instead take a vacation day that day. After an inmate was hospitalized in August of 2023 because of a fentanyl overdose, Flores alleges Correctional Chief Misha Graves was concerned the inmate could die and thus instructed her not to send an incident report because Graves did not want to have another death listed for corrections. Instead, according to the lawsuit, Graves told Flores she would have the inmate federally released from custody while he was in the hospital to distance Graves from any responsibility. Flores claims inmates only qualify for federal release when a jail reaches 90% capacity, which was not the case at the time. Flores also leveled other allegations of corrupt and or unethical practices at the sheriff's department, including she was fired in part to prevent her from exposing an alleged racket in which Orange County contractors, who were friends of Assistant Sheriff Robert Gunzel, were wildly inflating their prices for construction and repair work at the instruction of Gunzel and landing contracts with the department. When Flores and other colleagues questioned the charges, they were told to stop challenging them, according to her lawsuit. In November of 2023, a sergeant informed Flores that another sergeant at the Paris station had a side venture producing pornography for profit. Flores reported it to Graves, who made it clear she was displeased that the plaintiff raised a concern. Flores later learned that the accused sergeant's pornography activities were known by department leaders for more than a year. And rather than discipline the sergeant, he was instructed to keep his side business on the down low, according to the lawsuit. Keep it on the low, low. A political supporter of Bianco's was awarded a lucrative contract for wrapping department buses with decals or graphics without an appropriate bidding process. In November of 2023, Graves informed Flores, as well as other correctional commanders, they were being transferred to the Larry D. Smith Correctional Facility in Banning. I've done audits there, and they follow me to my car and look at me. Flores and the other commanders, according to the lawsuit, opposed the transfer and asked to speak with Bianco, but their request was denied. Flores and the other commanders, according to the suit, believed it was in retaliation for them speaking up about correctional deputies not being held accountable in use of force incidents and to hinder the ongoing Justice Department investigation. Furthermore, the commanders recognized that by relocating them to different facilities, leadership aimed to prevent them from answering questions during the upcoming DOJ investigation into previous jail incidents because they would lack knowledge of past incidents that had occurred at facilities to which they would be assigned. That's what the lawsuit alleges. It goes down. It's pretty lengthy. It goes down from there. So, but the whole gist here, and I tried not to talk too long, maybe I did. The whole gist is this commander is claiming that she's a whistleblower. She came out and said, hey, look, this stuff is going on. Nobody's doing anything about it. And the sheriff, according to her, says, you're fired. Make up a reason to fire her. That's what she's alleging. And I don't know. You really never know who to believe in these situations, but I'll tell you this, or I'm going to ask a question if anybody knows the answer because I couldn't find it out. That Riverside County deputy who kicked in the lady's door when her teenager said, no, you can't come in, and he pushed his way in anyway and arrested her, which was really breaking and entering. Was he ever punished or disciplined? I don't think he was, to the best of my knowledge. So Sheriff Chad Bianco, I don't trust you, buddy. I don't trust Sheriff Chad Bianco any further than I could throw him with one arm. Don't trust him. In my humble opinion, he's shady. Very shady. That's in my humble opinion. Okay, I don't have any facts for that. So I'm not saying it's a fact. I'm saying that's how I feel based on we've seen reports of deputies acting up in that county. Were they ever disciplined? Of course not. They justify it. Well, look, cops always try to justify stuff. Sheriffs, Police chiefs always try to justify it. Well, look here, the guy's a criminal. I don't care if he's a criminal or not. You're not judge and jury. You're a cop. You effect the arrest, you book them, and you let the district attorney bring charges. Now, cops do bring charges. I want to nail that down real quick because people have told me cops don't charge people. Yeah, they do. Cops will say you're being charged with breaking and entering, you're being charged with burglary, you're being charged with assault on a peace officer, you're being charged with resisting. It's up to the district attorney to look at the law enforcement officer's charges and go, yeah, yeah. No, we're not going to go with that one. I don't think we could get that one. Yeah, we'll get this. How about adding two? This one, this one. We'll add those too. This one, we're not going to get that one. The district attorney makes a decision on those charges and goes, let's take them forward. Let's file it in court. So yeah, cops can charge people, but it's up to the district attorney to go, yeah, or no, you're not going to get it. But I digress. The bottom line is, you got these things going on in these jails and on the streets. What are the sheriffs doing? What are the police chiefs doing? Now, if they fire the person, good for them. But if they don't, we want to know why.